All right. Rao, are you ready for the tech update?
Yes, I am. And before I start, I also wanted to say that Raphael wanted to do a quick recap of the nice workshop he did with the community yesterday or Monday morning. I'm forgetting now, but I think it was yesterday morning. So so that's also on the agenda, just so everybody knows. And let me share my screen. All right, we are running 0.10.1 on all the mainnet nodes now, into all the validators and observer nodes. And that basically has the PR to refactor our space to use the key value store, and also has the node improvement in node startup speed. That's this 3328, and should also reduce the memory usage substantially. So that's what we have on the mainnet. And testnet also currently is in the 0.10.1 on most nodes. On one node, one observer node, we're running the block merge version 0.11.0 alpha. And we discovered some issues. That's the reason why we did not roll it out to the full testnet. And I'll speak to kind of where we are on the block merge in just a little bit. So right now, testnet has 0.10.1, but there's another version 0.10.2 kind of in flight. The Tomislav is doing the final testing on this, and this is the one that addresses the small slowdown we're seeing on the mainnet over a span of several days. So this is from what Tomislav was able to figure out. It was a memory leak in the R space. So he's got a fix for that, and he is testing it, almost finishing. He's getting ready to basically get it be released on the testnet. And once it lives there for a period of time, we'll move it on to the mainnet. So that's where we are with the releases. And of course, the main focus of what we're working on is the block merge. With block merge, I think the team feels that at least many of the issues with the current alpha version are identified now, and that would be running with the synchrony constraint 0.99. And I will share, for 1 second, I will share this project. As you can see, there are, maybe I should reduce this a little bit so people can see. All right, so these are some of the issues that were discovered on the block merge testing. One, there was a situation discovered with the fact that Genesis wasn't failing when there were different quarantine lengths. So that's an issue being addressed by NutZipper, and refactoring of the key value cache to implement size limit. These are some of the things that are in process. This basically this is sort of the main focus of getting this merge of block merge feature branch into main dev branch completed, so that, and of course, whatever issues are discovered to be resolved, so that we have a version of block merge that's working with 0.99 constraint. And these are a couple of the other things that are also being worked on, modifying the DAG representation. And some of the tests had to be disabled before because we knew that how they were working on block merge with block merge would be different from before. So NutZipper is in the process of enabling all of those and making sure everything works as intended. So that's where we are with the block merge version with the 0.99 synchrony constraint. The way it is looking at this point in time is that we will be able to, once we fix those issues that I was just highlighting, that we should be able to get a version of the block merge with synchrony 0.99 over onto the testnet, but then there are changes in block merge that would probably call for some data changes. For example, there was an optimization issue about changing or removing channel, sorry, not changing, but removing channels map. Maybe there's an opportunity to optimize it, but at least the current thinking is that we may have to remove channels map, and that, like I mentioned in the last couple of debriefs, that would be a hard fork type of a situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a testnet to test those kinds of changes for block merge where there may be data changes, because we do want to leave a testnet available for folks that are doing development that is consistent with the code base that's on the main branch, that's consistent with the data structures that are on the main net. The code may be slightly different in the sense that the testnet one, meaning the current testnet as well as testnet two, both may have block merge changes, but testnet 2 will likely have the data changes also. So this way, people that are testing their applications can continue to use the testnet 1 with block merge code, but without the data changes. And that may actually move on to the mainnet sooner than whatever is brewing on the testnet 2. I want to stop there actually just for a brief second and see if everybody understands that, or are there any questions on that before I continue? Okay. Sorry, give me 1 second. I think there's something in the chat. Okay, no problem. So the other aspect of testnet 2 is we will, when we are ready with block merge 0.67, synchrony constraint 0.67, we will start using that for decentralization testing, meaning we will have community members running their own nodes with their keys that can attach to the testnet. So we have we debug the processes necessary for decentralization. So that's the other part. I won't detail or go into a whole lot of detail on that at this time because that's at least a few weeks away. So much of what I have here, I've already shown on the other screen when I was showing you the project overview or the Kanban chart. The one other thing that I wanted to speak to is we're beginning to kind of address the data or disk space type of issues, because as the testnet speed or the speed increases, we're going to be putting out more blocks per day. So the data growth is going to be higher on the network. So we need a easy way of both expanding capacity as needed on the storage, as well as the ability to offload or remove the data, sort of in the old IT thinking of, for example, whatever you don't need, you would move it to a cold store, something like that. So getting off the data, off the network that is not needed. And so that's something that we're beginning to think about. We don't, so we'll have some designs on that going forward. So that's the other activity from a tech update standpoint. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I think those are the main highlights I wanted to discuss. Are there any questions on any of this?
I just want to say that I think that there's a significant business opportunity for those who want to maintain transaction history past the last finalized state. You know, so providing storage, kind of in chunks, right? So say the first year and then the next 5 years and so on, in uh, different storage capacities that are maybe harder and harder to access, or takes longer to access as you go further back in time. So I do think that, for community members who are looking for opportunities, I think this one is a good opportunity, because the nodes will be compacting, right? They'll every so often get rid of state, so that we don't have to have the storage maintained throughout the beginning of time. And it would be important, I think, to the community to have services which would provide that audit trail. Yeah, I think that might be of considerable use to folks. It's not necessary from a cryptographic standpoint, but it may be a kind of convenience service that a lot of people would probably find useful. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right.
Awesome.
So if there are no questions on any of this, we can have Raphael do his review before we move on with the rest of the agenda. Is that okay?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just about to suggest that.
Okay, thanks. So yes, I'll be very quick. So I'm Raphael. I'm the one doing the Dappy project. So yeah, we had a session last Tuesday, March 23rd. So there were around 50 Chinese users who joined, as well as around 10 Europeans and Americans as well. So we were around 60. So it was dual screen shared on Zoom as well as VooV meeting for Chinese. And so we went through purchasing a name on the Dappy name system and linking this name to a file on the RChain testnet. So it was all linked to the RChain testnet, not the mainnet. And so this is an example. I purchased the basketball name and I linked it to a HTML file on the testnet. And then we also did a small crowdfunding, and here you can see all the participations coming from myself as well as other people from the community and Chinese people as well. So I almost got my crowdfunding completed. It's now 85%. So this is a dApp, so it means that everything you see comes from the blockchain. There is no web server involved. It's all directly tied to the RChain testnet, and it uses RChain token in the rholang. And it's great because we did not encounter any technical issues, so it all was very fluid. We worked with Gurinder to have the testnet ready for the load, and it succeeded. So I had to add just a small layer of caching on Dappy node. This way, if you have 100 times the same explore deploy request, it uses in-memory caching solution. And we also have a round trip to send the deploys to different nodes in order for each node not to be overloaded. So basically, we worked on we prepared, and we had very positive feedback from everyone. So it was a great session, and expect another one to be planned in the next weeks.
Yeah, I'm hoping you can do this once we have the block merge alpha 0.11.0 alpha on the testnet, that you could stress test that with another 50 to 100 people.
Yeah, so, okay, we'll do it.
Very nice. So excellent.
Yes, yeah, this is very nice. Yeah, I'm. Did you get any feedback about the NFT that notion?
So yeah, I did not mention this thing, but yes, it was very much focused on the concept of NFT because basically a name in the Dappy name system is NFT. For example, the basketball name that I purchased is can't be divided. So Dappy uses NFT and also fungible tokens. And the cool thing is that we are working with we are working to the RChain token contract is here to serve as a unified rholang contract for NFT as well as fungible tokens. So it's all very much related to this NFT concept.
Cool, very cool. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea. You might want to talk to Darryl, and because I think he has some leads on some possible applications for NFTs.
Yes, we are in a regular exchange.
Good, awesome, very good.
HJ.
Yes,
I have a question for Raphael.
go.
What is the advantage of Dappy versus Ethereum?
You're asking about Dappy. How is it like? How can it be compared to Ethereum?
Yeah.
So so Dappy is not a blockchain platform. RChain is the blockchain platform, and Dappy is a protocol plus web browser that is so it's generally an ecosystem. So it has many parts, but yes, it's you may call it a DApp because it's an application that uses blockchain, but the goal is to have other people building on Dappy because it proposes higher levels of accuracy and security regarding hosting a website, as well as hosting other kinds of blockchain applications and new trust models. So yeah, it's not a blockchain platform. It's a technology that uses blockchain and that unlocks kind of new models and new applications. And yes, we will see what's being built on Dappy, but we already have cool demos. And yeah, I the thing is that I don't right now I don't know exactly what can be built, but I explore some paths, and let's see where it goes in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your answer. And I ask this because Ethereum is very expensive to buy an NFT.
Yeah. So
and
this
will it be cheaper on RChain?
Yeah, this is a RChain related question.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So the flow price is orders of magnitude smaller than the gas price.
Yeah, that's a big advantage for RChain.
It is, yes.
Yeah, we just need to get people to put their NFTs on RChain. That's all we need to do.
Yeah. And Raphael has provided a framework where people can mint NFTs, instantly.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Congratulations, Raf. Yeah.
Yep, this is it. I think your term is right. It's kind of a framework where you can do just anything you want, just like a web browser allows you to do anything you want, but it's not opinionated.
Okay, thanks.
Good dialogue. This is great. So the board met yesterday. It was again mostly discussion and informational. There were no votes. I think it was mainly providing some feedback for a marketing proposal. So the board is actually stepping up to help the folks who put the marketing proposal together to sort of beat the proposal into a shape that's a little more what the board is expecting. So that's very good. So that work is underway. We hope to have it finalized even by the end of this week, which would be great. We seriously need a big marketing push in our main markets. So it'll be good to have a team that's devoted to working on the marketing push. Also, I can say that our work with a particular hardware vendor is beginning to accelerate. We're seeing a significant engagement, and I think that this is very positive. Had a much larger meeting today, and beginning to get into a more regular cadence, which I think is going to result in some nice prototypes to demonstrate in the not too distant future. I will give more details in the closed door session. That's about what I can say here. Is Darryl back?
Yes, I am here.
Are you ready to give the week in review?
I am.
Awesome.
All right. So first of all, apologies for being MIA last week. And also thank you to the fearless love warrior, Steve Henley, who stepped in at the last second to deliver it. Much appreciated. So this week's one is going to be a little lean because the other fearless love warrior, Jim Weitzcarver, it's his turn to be MIA this week, and he has usually a very great contributor to this. So I'm missing out on his participation this time. So without further ado, here's the week in review for Thursday, March 18th to today, Wednesday, March 24th. Last Thursday, the government's committee, we drafted an official request to the board regarding the locked rev issue and hammered out details towards the award payouts for the voting app. On Friday, in the climate coordination call, we covered taxpayer costs of climate change, the advantages of decentralized energy solutions, 3 million abandoned oil wells in the US, and the general vulnerability of our grid and why it's probably wise to go decentralized. And Greg reviewed RChain's type checking. On Monday, in the Casper stand-up call, this week's Casper stand-up covered the proof rules generated by OSLF, otherwise affectionately known as operational semantics in logical form. Yesterday, in the communications working group, we discussed the details around updating the white paper. Ian created a link, and that link is rchain.coop/whitepaper. This is a work in progress. We eventually want to enhance and expand the page to include a what paper, which would probably be more of a technical document, and a who paper and a why paper, et cetera, et cetera. And so that is something that we'll be, continuing to work on and expanding on. We also discussed the Earth Day video plans the promotional video plan process, and Raphael's exciting work with all things Dappy and NFTs. This morning in the RChain active member hangout, again, Jim wasn't here. It was very strange to be doing a members hangout without Jim there. But it was myself, Steve Henley, and Raphael, and we pretty much entirely discussed Dappy and NFTs in that call, and it was very exciting for me. And that brings us to right now. Back to you, Greg.
Thank you. And most excellent. We're having richer and richer weeks as the time goes on. I want to mention that I spoke last week to connecting the dots for climate change, and I've put those thoughts into outline form, and will be placing them in a blog post in the not too distant future. So look for that. So if you missed last week's discussion of how RChain connects to climate change, sort of, again, that connecting the dots discussion, well, we're piecing it together into a blog entry, so you can read it on the RChain blog as well. I think that's all we've got. Any questions, comments from the community?
I just want to say I'm just really excited about the potential of NFTs and all things RChain. My mind's been buzzing over the last few weeks about it, and it's just kind of exciting to see what Raphael is able to do with Dappy. Yeah, I'm just these are ideas that are kind of in their birthing stages, and there's a lot of potential for my particular industry, the music industry. There's a lot of potential for artist empowerment, utilizing the ideas around NFTs for crowdfunding, financing projects through a fan base, having artists offer NFTs up for charities. The ideas are kind of just continuing to flow out as I talk with people about this stuff. So it's an exciting time for me.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that I still don't, I haven't heard in the hype or what I really was talking about when I was describing the potential for NFTs back when we had when we were working with Resonate and Co. But essentially, in my opinion, what you want is a limited use. So you can imagine sort of single use that's like a concert ticket. So, for example, you can imagine that some artist, I'll just pick a name out of a hat, Taylor Swift is the only one that can offer dinner with Taylor Swift. And so she can tokenize that, she can give out some number of chances to have dinner with Taylor Swift. But once you pull the trigger on that token, it should no longer be good, right? So you can't resell it or reuse it. Now you could resell it prior to pulling the trigger on the token, but not after. And then you can imagine that there are some tokens that they don't just have a single use, but they have N uses, like a bus card or a subway ticket, where you can use it for some number of times, and then you have to re-up before you can use it again. So that's essentially a generalization of the basic use pattern. But I'm not sure that what's being hyped really has the sense of non-fungibility. So I'm looking forward to being educated.
So doesn't that sound like Carburo's tickets from the MIT days? Like 30 years ago?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. But at least with the blockchain, you can write a smart contract in rholang that will give you this, fixed finite use of a token. That's not hard at all. And you can imagine that before the uses are all used up, they can be sold or traded or what have you, up to that point. So that kind of basic functionality is something that's very easy to put together on RChain. But I'm not quite sure that the industry or the hype machine that's out there actually quite has a correct usage of non-fungibility. But I'm open to being proven wrong.
No, I think you're absolutely right, in my opinion as well. I think that the way that it's kind of exploded is through, this kind of crazed, rampant, irrational, exuberant, speculative kind of, of course, that's the way it's going to kind of explode out, right? But, and also too, like, it's funny because, it's kind of like, the current kind of killer app for blockchain projects, because it doesn't really require blockchain projects that can scale, right? So, it's pretty easy to just, plot, like Theo just pointed out in the chat. It's like people are crazy about very expensive JPEGs that are not even stored on chain.
Yeah.
So it's kind of silly, but it's caught a lot of excitement. And so what I'm excited about is the second, third stage part of the evolution of what NFTs could represent. Essentially an NFT in a single sentence is a new way to ascribe value to a digital creation. And you can create all sorts of different rules around what that is. Kings of Leon are now famous because they staked the claim that they were the first ones to do an album release as an NFT. And part of it was kind of similar to the Taylor Swift analogy you said, where it was kind of a bundle of perks that you get when you purchased the NFT for Kings of Leon. One was a trunk full of merch. Another was you get free backstage passes for life. So it's kind of like these, bundle of perks that a super fan would love to buy into with Kings of Leon. And I guess apparently they made a couple $1 million from this. So the ideas that have been floating around with my peers as we've been talking about this stuff, one that really excites me a lot is one of the 3 barriers to entry for musical artists is the cost of production. And even though we now witness Grammy Award-winning artists making, hugely popular music by recording in their bedroom using a Mac and Logic Audio, it still is a barrier to entry. The cost to produce a piece of music and get it out there. It's possible to imagine a NFT as a form of kind of Patreon or crowdfunding that allows for fans who really believe in an artist and they want to have that artist be able to afford to release an album independently, so they don't need to go to a record label and sign these onerous contracts where the record label owns the content that you pay back later. It's a disgusting business arrangement, and it's far too prevalent in the music industry for far too long. So if an artist can actually fund their album through their fans, by their fans, potentially investing in perhaps a limited edition version, digital version of a release that's about to come out, that's exciting to me. So this is when I start to get excited, is kind of some of the more creative applications of NFTs, not the Winklevoss twins and Christie's art auction approach, but some of the other exciting things that you could do once you have a way to ascribe value to a single digital copy of something. So that's my those are my thoughts recently about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a world I've been imagining as a musician for quite some time.
Yeah. It's really it seems like there's a convergence happening, and there's some really great projects out there that are really kind of approaching this whole NFT idea in I think some positive ways. There's a YouTube video that I found quite good to watch. It's 3 people, this representative from Audius, who are, I think, probably the currently the kind of best approach with all things music and blockchain right now. And then you have Blau, a DJ who has made a few million off of selling an NFT, who has some really, I think, intelligent insights onto kind of where this all could go. I'll put the link when I put out this the debrief. I'll put the link to it, so if anyone's interested, they can check it out, because he kind of talks about like 3 layers of where it can go, and how the potential for this craze could really be empowering for artists.
Very good. All right. Well, unless there are any other questions or comments, please stay safe, everyone, and see you on the other side.